Okay. What do I do here? 1 second. Okay. Oh, no.
Oh, unless you want someone.
Thank you.
Okay. So what does the chosen people mean? What does it actually mean when we say we're the chosen people? So I know we said different things about like little one-word answers and thoughts and how we feel about it. What it does it mean that we're the chosen people?
Got to do mitzvahs.
To do mitzvahs, okay.
Well, that God chose us.
For what? Let me just.
He chose us as the people that follow him.
Okay.
That's his special people.
Special people. Okay. Okay. A lot of good answers. So in this week's Parsha, it's actually mentioned. That's where the idea of the chosen people come from, is from this pasuk, this verse we're going to read right now in text number 1.
Should I start?
Sure.
Okay. As he promised, Hashem selected you this day to be his treasured people, and so that you will observe all his commandments.
Okay. So how are we the treasure, which is the same as like chosen? We're treasured of him. How? So we can observe all his commandments. Exactly. But usually, if you're chosen or treasured, it's not really that you have to do something. You think of more of it as an elite type of thing. Oh, you got chosen to be the new, CEO. So yeah, you may have worked, but like it's like this great position and make you feel a little bit, kind of hatty-tatty or up and up. It's not, you don't think of it. I'm there to serve somebody. And Hashem says, "I choose you. Here's 613 commandments. Go ahead." Now a lot of work for all of us. Like, hey, maybe we should pass, right? Is there like some line somewhere and further on the roof? When they said, I know that we're the chosen people, but once in a while, can't you choose someone else? Like, hey, why is it always us that have all the problems? Okay. So when we say chosen people, it's not that we're elite or VIPs, but it's about serving the world. Okay. And not just about being in this like, I'm in this higher position. I'm better than you. I'm greater than you. So there was a great rabbi in the time of the Talmud. His name was Rabbi Gamliel, and he had like a yeshiva, like an old-fashioned yeshiva. And he heard that 2 of his students are super, super poor. They're so poor, they didn't have food and didn't even have clothes. They had like nothing. So what did he do? He decided to give them a position, decide to give them a position in the yeshiva as like a teaching position, like a leadership position. And that way they'll earn money, they'll earn a paycheck. Okay. So they didn't know, they just heard, we heard, they just got their word of it. Rabbi Gamliel wants you to, be a leader, wants you to be a teacher to a group of students. And what was their answer? Text number 2. Yeah. I'll read it.
Sure.
Sure.
He summoned them, but they did not arrive. He summoned them again, and they arrived. He said to them, "Do you think I am appointing you to a position of mastery? It is a position of servitude to which I appoint you."
So it was like, hey, he wants us to lead? No, we're not. We feel uncomfortable teaching our peers and stuff like that. We don't want to be above them or higher than them. So they kind of like tried to like not take the position. They said, no. This is not like this elite thing. You deserve it. You're better at it. It's something that you have to work hard. I want you to work hard, and that's why I'm giving you the position. Obviously, he also had the intent that they should have money to live, but he's like trying to show them it's not when you get, when you become, when you're chosen for a position, when you're chosen for something, it's not just about, hey, now you're greater than everybody else. Now you're in a step above, but it's more that you have more work to do. You have to serve. You have to do something. So the same thing with Hashem. Hashem chose us to do all the mitzvahs. So let's continue 3a. What are we chosen for? And this is from the book of Shemos. Shelley, are you up to reading?
Absolutely. And now if you obey me and keep my covenant, you shall be my treasure out of all peoples, for the entire earth belongs to me. And you will be my kingdom of priests and a holy nation.
Okay. So number 1 is 2 things that how you're chosen. What do you get to do? You get to observe my commandments, and you're a kingdom of princes and holy nation. So what does that mean? So let us read. There is a Rabbi Ovadia Sforno in text 3b, And let's see what he says it means. Okay, Eileen, are you up to reading?
Yes.
Great.
Okay, you shall, didn't we just do this one?
No, this is, it's just the first word, like it's the,
You shall be my treasure because you will be a kingdom of priests to teach and guide humanity to invoke God's name and serve him as one.
so he's just like kind of quoting the words of the Chumash, and then he's explaining it himself. So he's saying, okay, what is our job? What does it mean that we're a kingdom of priests? We are there to be an example, be a guide, be ambassadors to the rest of the world. As Jewish people, we have to show the rest of humanity how we're supposed to be. Okay. So we're there to inspire and to serve the nations all over. So, and to show them that there's one Hashem. And to show them how they matter in the world, that they're not just there for themselves, or they're not just, like today there's a major crisis of people not knowing what their mission is, why they're here on earth. And if they don't, they're not the best at something, or they're not like the top of something, then they feel like they have no worth living. There's all this suicide stuff like that. But if we're there to show people, no, every single person has a place in this world. And Hashem runs the world, and we are a famous line, the light unto nations, right? And if we look around the world, over all the thousands of years since the Torah was given, yes, we have a major effect. Like most of the secular democracies are basically principles of Judaism, of Torah, right? The other religions, Christianity and Islam stem from the Torah. A lot of their, not all, but a lot of their, like basic beliefs or faiths or moralities are based on Judaism, and all of it leads to one God. So it's very interesting how we do have a major influence and effect on the other nations. And other non-Jews have taken note of such things. We're going to read in 4a, just an interesting article. This is a writer from the 1600s who's noticed, a French inventor. Anna, you want to read this?
Yep. The Jewish people at once attract my attention by the number of wonderful and singular facts which appear about them. This family or people is the most ancient within human knowledge, a fact which seems to me to inspire a peculiar veneration for it, especially in view of our present inquiry. Since if God had from all time revealed himself to men, it is to these we must turn for knowledge of the tradition.
See, so this person realizes it. And here another text 4b.
Who was this person?
He was a French inventor, mathematician, physicist, and theological writer in the 1640s. Invented the Pascaline and the early calculator. Okay. 4b, this is written by Thomas Cahill, who was an Irish-American philosopher. Okay. Regina, you want to read?
Sure. We are the unserving recipients of this history of the Jews, this long, excessive, miraculous development of ethical monotheism, without which our ideas of equality and personalism are unlikely ever to have come into being, and surely would never have matured in the way that they have. You unbelievers might wish to stop for a moment and consider how completely God, this Jewish God of justice and compassion, undergirds all our values, and that it is just possible that human effort without this God is doomed to certain failure. Should I go on?
Yes, please.
Humanity's most extravagant dreams are articulated by the Jewish prophets. In Isaiah's vision, true faith is no longer confined to one nation, but all the nations stream to the house of God, that he may teach us his way, and that we may learn to beat our swords in plowshares.
Thank you. Okay, so if we are a light unto the nations and we are an example for everyone, then does this cause us to become haughty or arrogant? Like, we have to teach everyone else. We're a little better. We know better. Does that make us, is that possible to make us more like that? Does it make us feel like masters over others? So when text 3b, text 5, which is the same commentator as that in text 3b, Sforno, he says, no, Hashem made every single human in his image. So every human is unique. Every human is a treasure. Just Jews are a little bit different. Okay, so let's read text number 5. Back to Batya.
Okay. And you shall be my treasure out of all peoples. Humanity is more precious to me than all the lower creatures, because the purpose of creation is fulfilled through them. Indeed, our sages of blessed memory taught, beloved are humans, for they were created in God's image. Nevertheless, among them you will be my primary treasure.
Okay, so Jews are the most treasured. We are Hashem's treasure. We need to show everyone their value, and they should behave as such. So we show by example, we're good, and we show what the right way is, and then people can learn from us. And that helps us. And that, so that also makes us better, but also it doesn't make us higher or make us feel greater than them, or doesn't make us elitist or superior or anything like that. And if you notice, Jews are almost never being accused, unless it's like false accusations, like what's going on in Israel sometimes, but Jews are never like being accused of being, discriminatory or, things like that, or being elitist or superior. Maybe people come as accused, saying they're like maybe falsely accused, but like if Jews are always on the, if anything, they're always helping the underdog and always out to help the person who's the minority. I know, like say, for example, I know, and this happened in many places, but I know in Chicago, my mother always told me that it was the Jews that made a hospital for the blacks who weren't allowed into other hospitals, like the Mount Sinai Hospital in Chicago was they would let in all the minorities that other hospitals did not let in. So Jews were always out there helping everybody else. So we were never the type to be elitist or superior or racist or anything like that. So how are we unique and how are we a treasure? What is different about us? What is special about us? So what is so special? How are we chosen? What makes us the most treasured is that we each have a little piece of Hashem within us, right? Our neshama, our Jewish soul, has that sliver of Hashem, has a piece of Hashem himself. So this makes us different because this makes us godly. We are all like godly, and we're part of Hashem.
Wow.
Because we have this piece because of our neshama. Our neshama makes us all part of Hashem. And what's interesting is in text number 6, let's read text number 6. I think it's up to you, Karen.
Okay. The souls of the righteous sat with the King of all kings, the Holy One. Blessed be he, and he consulted them before creating his world.
So before Hashem created the world, so before there was anything, before anything existed, Hashem conjured up the Jewish souls of the righteous, the souls of the Jewish people. And through that is when he created the world. So in a way, they were created first. They were in his image. They were in his mind first. And only then did he create the world. So we were part of the initial thought of creation. And then Hashem, once he created the world, so then he created the bodies for us. But we were kind of there all the way from the beginning, even before creation. And so we preceded creation, and that way makes us so we were a part of Hashem. We're literally since our neshama is a piece of Hashem, it makes us and everything we do a part of Hashem. And Rashi explains something more. Text number 7. Back to Shelley.
Okay. Treasure, a beloved treasure, like the treasures of kings. As kings store costly vessels and precious stones in their secret treasure houses, so will you be a treasure to me from among the nations.
Okay, so think of all the old days, the kings, they had these huge treasure houses, and they would these rooms would sit with treasures, right? Gold, silver, jewels, whatever it was, all this precious stuff. And it was almost never taken out. Once in a while, maybe the king would take something out to show off. But it was like, this was kind of showed his strength and his power and his might, right? The more treasures he had in his treasure house, the mightier he was. But most people never really saw the treasures, and it just gave him more like power and everything like that. So we are Hashem's treasures, and most of the time we're just kept hidden away, and it doesn't come out that we're Hashem's treasure particularly. and only when Hashem has to show his power or might. Now, what's interesting to note is that the decline of the kingships all happened when banks became very common and bankers became wealthy, and they kind of competed with the king's treasure, and then the king's he lost his power because he wasn't worth the same as bankers, once bankers came into the picture. But either way, so the treasure, in a way, these treasures, in a way, the king looks at them and it makes him feel good. It's like it's for him, his treasures. It makes him like he appreciates them. He looks at them from time to time. It's not really for anything else. Let's read a little bit more about that. We'll explain in the next few texts. Text number 8. Anna, are you?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
It's the king's hidden treasures don't enhance the kingdom. They are part of the king himself. His kingship is tied to having hidden treasures of diamonds and gems to enjoy and in which to delight. This truly exalts the king. It elevates him intrinsically.
Okay, so us Jews, we are part of Hashem. So we're chosen above everybody else because we have this godly soul. And we are part of the king's like private collection. So we're only serving him. We're not there to show off to anyone else. It's only for him to make him feel good and to make him see, his worth or whatever it is. And it makes, and it's kind of like he goes to check out his private collection every once in a while. It's not something that he shows, but just part of himself. And it's not something that anyone else will ever see. The Jewish people are like one with Hashem, one with the king. So then how do we serve Hashem in this way? What does this all mean? If we're all part of the king, right? We are part of him and everything. We serve him by showing our real natural self, which is coming from our soul. If we think about, right, that the soul came first, it was there before creation, and then Hashem just put it into a body for us. So really that's our real nature. All the stuff that we take on from the physical world is really our second nature. And really that is really our first nature. And then so that means we want to naturally do what Hashem wants. We would want to just focus on godliness. When we really listen to our first nature, our soul, which is from God, it's part of God, we'll just do that. We'll just make godliness like our main part of the world, our main attention in life, our main focus. And what we will do is make Hashem shine in this world by letting our godly soul, our real original self, let Hashem shine through. So let's read text number 9 to explain. Or Gina, you want to read it?
Sure. This is why our service is in the manner of to observe all his commandments. That Jew follow 613 commandments, not just 7 as Noahides do. This is not just a quantitative commandments and tasks, rather it is a qualitative difference. The observance of non-Jews is limited by the number of commandments and tasks that are assigned. The observance of Jews who are one, as it were, with God's core and essence, is beyond any measure limitation. Since God and his will are one, a Jew who is one with God is devoted and committed to God's will.
Okay, so for someone who looks at Jews and Hashem as separate beings, as separate things, will say, hey, why should a Jew serve Hashem? Okay, because I want to do this and Hashem wants me to do that. Okay, it's two separate things. But for someone who knows that Hashem and the Jewish people or the Jewish soul is one entity, and we just are a piece of him, then it's not even a question. It's all part of me. And Hashem wants something, so that's what I want because I am part of him. So our neshama wants us to do what Hashem wants. Sometimes, our body gets in the way, but our neshama wants to do what Hashem wants, and that should make that then our number one focus and priority. It's not like, okay, I'm going to go do my davening in the morning, I'm going to pray, I'm going to do my mitzvah, I'm going to give my tzedakah, and I'm going to go to work and do whatever else I'm going to do. But if you're thinking, okay, I am a part of Hashem, then my whole day is going to include Hashem in it. Now, my whole day is going to make sure, okay, am I doing this according to the Torah? Am I doing this the way Hashem wants us to get it done? And then you look at everything in a whole different way, because that's really our deepest desire. Our deepest desire is our neshama's desire. And if you think of that you're an outside entity of Hashem, then you're just going to do what you want to do, and then you may do what Hashem wants you to do. But what we really have to do is really think of him as being a part of you, and then it's all one purpose. And that's why being chosen leads to service, because we're chosen, we're given a piece of Hashem in us, and we're part of Hashem. Then we are automatically going to want to do all the things Hashem wants us to do, which is the 613 mitzvahs. And that's why the non-Jews only need 7, because they're not chosen. They just have to do a few things to show that they're doing something for Hashem.
Is that what Noahides?
Yeah.
What is
Noahides is anyone not Jewish, so there's 7 Noahide laws. You heard of them?
No, never heard of it.
Never heard of them?
No.
Jews have 613 commandments.
Yeah.
Non-Jews have 7. It's called the
But they're
7
kind
mitzvahs of
like the
Noah.
10 Commandments. They're
They're generalized.
They're
They're
very
very
people.
they're very generalized. I'll give you them. I know they have them
Like
here
don't
somewhere.
kill, don't have adultery.
Right. Don't. Yeah, let me just find it.
They're not.
Believe
they're
in
not
one
like the
God.
things like
Don't
Shabbat.
be cruel to
Does it
animals.
have the Shabbat?
No, they don't have to
No.
keep Shabbos. No.
Oh, so they're not religious people.
Basic decency laws.
Yeah, exactly. Have
Oh,
laws of
decency
court.
law.
There's
I
7.
see.
Yeah, I know I have it here somewhere, so I'm just if I could find it. I thought
I could look it up.
I want to find this. You don't know. Yeah, you can look it up. It's 7 Noahide laws. It's called.
All right. Just
Yeah, no, I know it's in the footnotes, and I'm surprised I can't find it. Oh wow. Okay. Anyway, so why doesn't this get to our head? Why don't we feel so like, oh wow, elite or superior? Hey, we're the best. We are part of Hashem. We are, we have a neshama in us that makes us part of God, and we're light into nation. So we could tell everyone else what to do, and we're like the top of the world, and everyone else is just, chopped liver. No, we don't do like that, right? As we said. So as we saw in text 3b, yeah, we're there to just show by example, and we're there to show how special humanity is. And as Rashi said, we're superior, but technically anyone can join the Jewish people. It doesn't say that no one can join the Jewish people, right? There's converts. So technically, if every single non-Jew is ready to do everything, that to become a Jew, and they're all coming in and everything, so technically anyone can join. So it's not really a thing of, it's only us and that's it. But according to Rashi, we are greater, but why don't we act that? Why don't we display that in any way? Why are we always just like kind of meek and just showing, by example, or even being embarrassed about it, whatever it is? So as we said before, let's say you are at work or wherever it is and you get promoted, or let's say you get into a VIP, party or a VIP screening of something in Hollywood. You would feel so special. You feel so great. And you like say to your friends, oh, did you know, hey, you know where I'm going tonight? And try to show off and say, hey, yeah, I'm going, you're not going, or right, or if you get promotion at work, you kind of like look at your other coworkers and you might kind of like look down at them or something and make a little
Instagram.
exactly. Okay, there you go. Whatever it is, right? But what about when you meet someone or something that's truly, truly, truly great or grand? If you're somewhere and the person it really is what great is or top is, or you meet or you're somewhere that's totally like blows you away at how beautiful, how amazing, how grand it is. I think of the Grand Canyon. What's called the Grand Canyon. So sometimes when that happens, let's read text number 10a. Kind of gives a glimpse of what happens when you actually see or meet somebody or something that's really, really true greatness. A thing or a thing.
My ear or something like that.
Yeah, or even just a thing, like something like the Grand Canyon. So I have no clue who we're up to over here. Or you're back to
Yeah. Okay. To function, humility needs a reality greater than ourselves, a reality that inspires awe. Nature in its beauty, complexity, and vastness does afford us a sense of the sacred and profane. Nature is complex, intricate, spontaneous. Think of the migration of geese or the sunrise. Visit the Grand Canyon or walk among the exposed and open rock of southern Utah. Late at night, look up and watch the stars. Or during spring, crouch and watch a bean sprout coming out of the ground. At some point, you will stop and say, wow, This is incredible, beautiful, amazing. To fail to see this, to fail to be moved by the awe-inspiring qualities of nature is
Want to
to
offer this to the kids?
lack humility. We understand humility through the awe-inspiring qualities the virtuous person can see. Humility comes from a contact with a greater, more complex reality. That is, a person stands before something that inspires awe.
So true greatness brings humility. And when you see something that's truly great, you see it many times, you see how humble these people really are. You know, they're really, really, truly great, so when you go to a place like the Grand Canyon, it doesn't make you feel greater or bigger, right? Instead, the opposite happens. You feel smaller. Oh my goodness, how amazing this thing is, how small I am in this great thing. It doesn't make you, it doesn't cause you to intimidate others or control others or push others down. It's just the opposite. We want to share it with other people. What makes us want to share this true beauty, this true greatness with others? And that's how it is with Hashem too. With us and Hashem, we want to share this greatness with other people because it's true. It's true greatness. Hashem is true greatness. Another interesting text, number 10b, is a I was calling an astronaut, but wrote, I guess an astronaut, looking down at Earth from a, spaceship, space mission, whatever. How do they view? Do they feel great? Oh, wow, I'm on top of the world? Or let's look how they look. When they look at it, what do they think? So this is Carl Sagan. Was very interesting thoughts about it.
For now.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I think it's your turn.
And
Okay.
oh.
Do you want to?
Oh no, it says from New Mexico.
Oh.
So I wanted to, before my sister's, because she was a big,
Oh.
Mhm.
yeah, they're all New Mexicans.
Okay,
Yeah,
go for it,
that's all.
Kathleen.
Sorry.
Look again at that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. That aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species live there, or here, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. The earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors so that in glory and triumph, they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner, how frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturing, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark.
Wow. So once you see how small the world is in compared to the entire universe, I know it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You also, again, it brings us humility. You realize, hey, we're like the whole world. We think we're so high and mighty. We're really, really nothing. So in front of true greatness, true vastness, all of a sudden, all these different things like don't matter. The money, amount of money in your bank account, what kind of car you drive, how much power you have, what position you have at work. All these things are nothing when in comparison to the paleness of like looking right from up above down into the universe. They're all just artificial standards, artificial greatnesses. And it's really just petty when you think of the true greatness and the true, what's really big in the world, what really matters. And that makes you humble. So when we're standing in front of Hashem, that same thing, we're coming right now, before Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, when we're standing in shul in front of us, and again, it makes us humble because when we see the true greatness, it really makes us more humble. The closer we get to Hashem and the closer we become with him, the more we like we feel him and we do for him, the more humble we become. And we get drawn into his greatness and we just realize how small of a speck we really are. And then there's no place over there for such arrogance. So of course we have no arrogance as Jewish people, being the God's chosen ones. Why? Because we're just trying to show everybody how great Hashem is, and then we're just a small little nothing. What's interesting is there was the first Chabad Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe, he was imprisoned on false charges in Tsarist Russia. Like one of the holidays we celebrate is when he was released from prison. But basically people falsely charged him of treason. They were trying to like get him in trouble. And when he finally got freed, when he was exonerated from these charges and he was freed, some of his followers were like, wanted to go and give a dig to the people who tried to get him in trouble. Go see, he's free. You guys are, all messed up. And the Alter said, no, we don't do that. Don't show that. That's arrogant. And why? Let's read text number 11. Shelley.
We ought to become exceedingly humble with every kindness God bestows upon us. For kindness is God's right arm, and his right arm embraces me. In kindness, God draws us close to him, far closer than ever before, and those brought exceedingly close to God, raised aloft to great heights, must never be humbler to the lowliest plane, as it is written, from afar has God appeared to me. And as is known, all that is before him is esteemed as nothing. Hence, the closer one is to God, the more like nothing, naught, and non-existent becomes one.
Wow. So actually, egocentricity actually blocks greatness, and humility actually opens it up. And if Hashem's greatness doesn't consume us, then we kind of missed it. We don't get the point. So if you're truly close to Hashem and truly close to greatness, then we're never going to act as bigots or elitist or discriminatory or anything like that. And we're just going to go around trying to be an ambassador for Hashem and show everyone else how great this true greatness really, really is. And that is really the lesson of what the chosen people are. So don't shy away from we shouldn't shy away from our role as being ambassadors of Hashem, to be a light unto the nations, and know that really we are truly connected, and this only brings more humility. It's not going to bring any type of arrogance or anything like that. I'm just end off this class with a story. Okay, just some stories about people who are very humble because of their greatness or closeness to Hashem. So the fifth Chabad Rebbe, he was visiting a town called Romanovka, and the people there, they want to show how honored they were to have him and everything, and how much they revered him. And so as his carriage came into the town, they unhooked the horses from the carriage and they started to carry the carriage themselves to show, hey, we ourselves are going to carry him into the city. Now the people who are close with him, his close Hasidim, they were like, oh no, we know how much he's going to hate this, because he didn't want any of this type of honor. He didn't like this, and they had these pained expressions on themselves, and they felt like, oh my goodness, they were kind of embarrassed and shamed for him, because they knew that he does deserve that honor, but it totally is so the opposite of what he was like, because he didn't want that type of honor. There was another two rabbis, Rabbi Akiva Eger and Rabbi Yaakov of Lisa, where they were both great rabbis, and they're traveling to Warsaw, a big city, and everyone was so excited to go out and greet them. And from before you come into the city, there were already crowds and crowds of people coming to greet their carriage and walk with them and everything. And each one was thinking, oh, everyone's here for my friend. So Rabbi Akiva Eger was thinking, hey, they're all here for Rabbi Yaakov Lisa. Rabbi Yaakov Lisa was like, oh, they're all here for. So they both decided, okay, I also want to join the person. I want to show how great my friend is, and I'm also going to walk his carriage along the road till we get to the city. So they both kind of snuck out of the carriage, and they're both walking along with the people, and the people didn't really know their face, what they looked like. It wasn't like people had pictures in those days and everything. And they got to the city and they opened up the carriage to let the rabbis out, and lo and behold, the carriage was empty, because they both were out in the procession walking with, along with their friend. So it just shows you how the greater someone really is, the greater they are in Judaism, the greater in Torah study, in if they're truly doing it for the right purposes, and then the more humble they are. Thank you all for joining the
Thank
class
you.
today.